We recently returned from a 2-week summer vacation in Paris in Italy, and I spent so much time researching the best items to bring on my vacation. This is the first time in my adult life that I didn't overpack, so I'm actually really proud of myself. And I used everything that I brought in my suitcase. So in this post, I'm going to go through everything you actually need to bring on your European vacation. So first is the suitcase. My biggest concern was if our suitcases were going to be too large and too heavy. Would we be the only people in Europe with 24-inch bags? Let me ease your mind and tell you that we were definitely not the only ones. We saw more large bags than carry-on bags. So if you've been stressing about fitting everything in a carry-on, stop stressing over this and opt for the larger bag, because yes, sometimes it was a hassle to have a big bag in the old streets and carrying it upstairs, but overall it gave us room to buy souvenirs and just pack what we actually wanted to bring. It really wasn't a burden at all. We had a fancy CalPack suitcase, and then we had one from Amazon, and I actually recommend the $99 one from Amazon more, because 1 week into our trip, the CalPack's wheel split in half. So it made it really hard to lug that one around. So this is the suitcase. I opted for a silver color, and I've had this one for about a year now, but I always recommend getting a non-black suitcase because it's easier to find at the baggage claim and just keep track of it. So you don't have to get some crazy ugly color. Like this silver one I think is really chic, but it's just nice. And the Amazon suitcase is lightweight, it has the 4 wheels. And if you're going to bring a big suitcase, then I also recommend getting this luggage scale and bringing it with you on your trip. It's really nice because you can set it to show you in pounds. Yeah, so it shows pounds. And then you just wrap it around the handle and lift the bag up. Let me just tell you how heavy this suitcase is. So the suitcase alone is 10 pounds. That's actually like kind of crazy. I've never really thought about that, but it's good to know. So now when I'm packing, I know that 10 pounds of that is literally just the bag. But this little guy is so helpful because, especially if you're traveling with someone, if one of you is over 50 pounds and one of you is under 50 pounds, then you can weigh your bags before you actually go to check them and move some of the items around, so that way both of your bags are under the 50-pound weight limit and you don't get charged. Okay, next I recommend bringing packing cubes. I tried packing cubes for the first time on our Europe trip, and I 100% recommend them. They made staying organized in tiny hotel rooms so much easier. My husband didn't want packing cubes, and by the end of the trip, he proclaimed that he will be getting some for our next vacation because they're just so much easier to manage. They are really helpful for categorizing your suitcase. You use one for tops, one for bottoms, one for dresses, one for pajamas, etc. And these are the ones that I used. I really liked them because they had the mesh, so you could actually see what's inside, so you don't have to open them each time and see, okay, what's in this bag, what's in that bag. This set is super affordable, and it also comes with a shoe bag, so you can put all of your shoes in it. I brought 5 pairs of shoes, which was overkill, but I was just so worried about my feet hurting. But they all fit in the shoe compartment. So these are super affordable. Oh, by the way, everything will be linked below, and most of it is from Amazon. So it's super affordable and very accessible, fast shipping, just so much easier. I also recommend bringing some plastic bags for laundry and just keeping your dirty laundry separate. So I actually first purchased the compression packing cubes. I just thought it would be better if I could zip everything up and make it really tight and small. And I actually don't recommend them. They didn't save that much space, and I felt like they really squished your clothes, and they were hard to zip. It was just a hassle. It would have made packing a lot harder because we stayed at 5 different hotel rooms. I feel like having the bigger ones with more space, it was an easy, seamless process. But I also feel like the smaller compression ones would make everything so much more wrinkly. And of course things are gonna get wrinkled, but they don't really have irons or steamers at any of the hotel rooms we stayed at in Europe or the apartment that we stayed at. Speaking of wrinkles, I highly recommend that you invest in this dual voltage mini iron. None of the hotels or the apartment that we stayed in had any irons or steamers available. and we use this thing almost every day on our trip. So it's definitely worth it to bring your own iron. But you don't want to bring some big heavy iron around. So this little mini one was honestly perfect. I would say it got like 90% of the wrinkles out of our clothes. Is it the best iron you're ever going to use? No, but it's dual voltage and super compact. I also like that it came with this rubber mat, so when we were ironing like on the bed, then we didn't burn anything. And then it has this nice little travel bag that everything just fit easily into. Okay, I also got this mini blow dryer. So it's dual voltage and it folds up to be really small, and this came in handy a lot because 3 of the hotels that we stayed in did not have blow dryers, and it would have sucked. So it's very important when you're traveling in Europe to buy things that are dual voltage. So this plug is an American plug and the plugs in Europe are different. So you have to get something that's dual voltage because even though it fits in the adapter, like this is what European plugs look like. So they're definitely different than American plugs. So even though it'll fit in this, it will zap it. So like if you bring your Dyson Airwrap to Europe, it will fry your Dyson Airwrap because the voltage setting has to be the correct setting for wherever you are in Europe. So it's just definitely something to be aware of. Another thing I was really excited about was my Hot Tools curling iron is dual voltage. So I didn't have to get a special curling iron to bring on my trip. This $30 curling iron that I've had for years now was perfect and it worked just fine. It didn't zap anything out. I brought it home, it still works, so we're good to go there. So that and then this mini blow dryer really did come in handy on our trip. You're definitely gonna wanna bring a hanging toiletry bag. So when I travel, look how big this is. When I travel, I usually bring a couple different toiletry bags. I have one for hair products, one for skincare, and one for makeup. Let me tell you, European bathrooms are tiny. We only had 1 hotel out of the 5 we stayed in that had any counter space at all in the bathroom. So having a hanging toiletry kit really came in handy. This one was like $18. I got the larger size too because it could fit all of my skincare plus all of my husband's products. And then the hanging feature really came in handy because you could hang it on the back of the door or on the shower or wherever you could hang something. So you don't need counter space when you have a hanging toiletry bag. This one also had a zipper on the back, which is where I kept my jewelry. So it was just all in one place, really easy to travel with. It also has this little handle on top. It was perfect. I did still bring a small makeup bag, but not my usual large one. And this one was perfect because I didn't plan on wearing a lot of makeup while I was in Europe, but I like to cover breakouts or if I have any like redness on my face, I just like to have an even skin tone. And so I knew I was gonna definitely wear foundation. And then if I wear foundation, then I need bronzer and blush. And so I just knew I had to bring some things, but I didn't need my full makeup kit. And what I liked about this one is, so it's really cute and small, but then it has slots for all of your brushes and then plenty of room for all of your makeup. And then these top little compartments too were really nice. So that's where I kept my bronzer and my blush. And then if you are gonna travel with makeup and you use a makeup sponge, getting a makeup sponge holder is really key because especially when you're traveling in Europe and you're moving from hotel to hotel, you're gonna pack up your makeup, and if your sponge is damp, it's gonna wreak havoc on your makeup bag, and we don't need to do that. So you just put your wet sponge in this little guy, and it doesn't get everything else wet. It's really nice. And then another thing I always bring on trips is a face razor, so I can just touch up and shave any of those hairs that I don't want, but I don't want to spend my usual tweezing, shaving routine. You can just kind of touch up areas and be good to go. Okay, speaking of makeup that I brought on my trip, I do want to touch on a few products that were kind of like my hero products. So it was Europe in the summer. It's extremely hot. It got into the high 90s some days. I wore the L'Oreal True Match foundation. This is a drugstore foundation and it held up so well in the heat. I could not be more impressed. It's $9. And it's surprisingly clean and it doesn't have any pore clogging ingredients. So I'm very, very impressed. I did use a primer underneath, which I guess I didn't get out, but I used the Hourglass Veil primer. So the primer is a little bit more expensive, but it will last you forever. So what you do is your skincare routine and then primer and then foundation, and then you definitely want to set your makeup in Europe. if you get oily and shiny or sweaty like I do. So I use the Ilia setting powder. It's talc free, it's incredible, but this combo stayed on so well. Another thing I want to highlight is the 2 concealers that I brought. Yes, I brought 2, but they're different. So this is an under eye brightener. When you travel and your sleep schedule's thrown off and you get those really dark under eye circles, this light pink concealer, you just dab it on the dark circle and it brightens it and makes it look so much better. So you could actually just use this with foundation, but sometimes if you just want to look a little bit more done, putting a concealer on top is really helpful. So the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop concealer, these do not crease. So they're amazing. They don't have pore clogging ingredients. They're actually pretty clean. And these 4 products I would say are like the heroes of the trip. I looked good in all my photos and this is what I was wearing. We brought a 2-pack of these luggage locks on our trip and they're TSA approved, so they're not gonna cut them off your suitcase when they go through the TSA checkpoints or anything, but you can keep your bag locked and then they have access to open them if they wanna check your bag out. I know that most suitcases do have a lock on them, but something about them, I just don't trust it. What if we get locked out? I just don't need that stress. So I like to have these. And then once we would settle into the hotel, I like this one because it has the bendy strap, so you could use it on your backpack if you want. There's a lot of pickpockets, especially in Paris and Rome. So if you want that added security, you can bring this with you throughout the day. Another thing that I don't have that I will definitely get for my next trip is luggage trackers. So it's like an Apple AirTag type thing. If you are checking your bag, this is really good to keep track of where your luggage is and then help you locate your bag if the airline loses it. I believe you have to have an Apple device to track your AirTag. So if you have a Samsung, there's the Smart Tag or you can get the TileMate. There's different brands out there. But we didn't have any of this and I will definitely get it for our next one because our bags were lost at one point in the baggage section after our airline moved our flight for 24 hours. And the guy next to us could actually see exactly where his bag was. So it was kind of like, we were kind of jealous. We were all trying to figure out what was going on with our baggage and we were all waiting in this super long line. It was insane. And this guy with his little tracker tag was like, at least I know mine is here. I just need to get it in my possession. But our first night when our flight was delayed 24 hours, we didn't have our bags. They just were somewhere at the airport and they basically told us, trust us, we have this. And it would have given us so much more peace of mind if we had had these AirTags. I also feel like they would just come in handy a lot at home, like having them around your house. My friend's car was stolen and she had an AirTag in it. And the cops were able to help her track her car down really easily because of the AirTag. And they're not that expensive. They're like $30. I think that's worth it for the peace of mind. So you definitely want some sort of hidden wallet to secure your valuables. Like I said, Europe, especially Rome, Paris, and some of the other cities are notorious for pickpockets. And so I bought this waist wallet for my husband to wear and it came in handy quite a bit actually. We encountered a pickpocket in Rome. We caught someone with their hand in my husband's backpack and he was super sly about it. Like we would have never known if we didn't literally catch him. So kind of sketchy, but this is the one that goes around your waist. There's also a neck version. So if you don't, like if you're not wearing pants or something, it would be hard to pull your dress up and get into your little waist wallet. You definitely want to keep it hidden under your clothes. And so the one that goes around your neck would also come in handy a lot. So what's nice with these little hidden wallets is they allow you to conceal your cash, credit cards. We carried our passports on us. You have your hotel key in here and it doesn't scream, I'm a tourist, rob me. Like I have this giant backpack on, all my stuff's in there. No, it just goes in this and then is hidden underneath your blouse or jacket or whatever. So it makes it really impossible for a pickpocket to grab your essential items. Another thing I just want to note is you definitely need to stay alert in touristy areas when you're traveling. And so if you make direct eye contact, it works wonders. So people know I'm paying attention, I'm watching you, don't try to rob me. But those little waist and neck wallets are super helpful. I also saw a lot of blog posts saying your hotel will have a safe, you can put all your valuables in there. Only 2 out of the 5 hotels we stayed at had a safe. So we actually carried our passport, driver's license, credit cards, cash, everything on us every single day. You can't count on European hotels to have the amenities that we have in America, or just when you travel. It's just don't count on anyone. This carry-on backpack is amazing. It's massive. This is the one that I wear. This wasn't our day pack. My husband had a different backpack that he wore all day, but I like this one because it has the padding in the back. It has the TSA fold down, so you can just open this and fold your laptop down instead of having to take it out. It has a ton of pockets. It has this little USB charger on the side. It has a water bottle holder. It's just the best backpack. I tried so many, and this one's my favorite, and it was like $27, I think, when I bought it over a year ago. I've used it so many times. I would say the only problem with it is it's so big that you can really fill it up and it can become too heavy really fast, which I feel like that's a good thing because my backpack before that was way too small and it didn't have enough room for a lot of the things that I would need. So I'd rather have more space and then not enough. The things that you definitely want to carry on the flight, so even if you're checking a bag, carry on things like your laptop, your travel documents, a change of clothes, underwear, socks. This is a must because if your flight gets canceled like ours did, you're gonna wanna have a change of clothes. And then also bring your toiletry bag, your skincare, anything that you would really miss not having once you land at your destination. If they lose your bag, at least you have your skincare and your essential items. And then in-flight must-haves, there are just a few items that I will always carry on with me to make my flights more comfortable, and especially on the way to Europe because this is a really long flight. So it's worth the extra weight to bring some of these creature comforts like earplugs or compression socks. These are really helpful. They help with blood clots, but they also help with swelling. So if you're like me and once you get up in the air, your legs and everything just swells, these will help with that. I got a 3-pack on Amazon and I just brought one pair with me because we did laundry halfway through our trip. But these are really nice. You don't want to pull them all the way up into the crease behind your knee. I guess that's some sort of, my acupuncturist told me that's like some pressure point that you don't want to have that pressure right there. So leave like this much space when you pull your compression socks up. They help me a lot. This is something I got for this trip that I am obsessed with. It's a inflatable pillow, so it gets really small and it's very lightweight, but then to blow it up, it's so easy. Like, that's it. And now it's blown up. And this one's really cool because it has this little strap that goes in the front, so it holds it in place. And then the sides are nice because when you're wearing this, however you wear it, it just stays in place. It's super comfortable. Our first flight on the way there did give us a pillow, but the flight back from Europe did not give us a pillow. So I wouldn't say that the flights are consistent with the amenities that they'll provide, and bringing your own pillow on that long of a flight helps a lot. You can also bring an eye mask. I like this one because it gets blacked out. Like, it makes everything super dark. So if you want to sleep on that flight, or even in the hotel rooms, you can't really count on hotel rooms having the best curtains. So bringing an eye mask helps a lot. And then headphones. I don't understand how people have Bluetooth headphones and then you have to plug into the aux plug on airlines. So I have just a set of headphones that I keep in my travel bag. These have an aux plug. They're Bluetooth, but they plug in and they've never given me any grief. And these are noise canceling and they're padded. They're super comfortable and they're just the best. So bringing your own headphones, like, I would never count on the in-flight little plastic ones they give you. Just bring your own. You're going to be so much more comfortable. Other items I definitely recommend carrying on with you are like hand sanitizer, hand cream, chapstick or lip balm, and then snacks. So we took American Airlines, and on the way they did provide a pillow and a blanket, which was nice, but they didn't have it on the way home. So just something to be aware of. It's like you can't really count on these airlines having everything you're gonna want. I will say American Airlines gave us a ton of food on the flight. Like, the dinner was huge, the breakfast was huge, the snacks, the unlimited alcohol if you wanted it. Lots and lots of times they came through and brought liquids, which I appreciated. But I always bring my own snacks because I would just rather eat things that I know I like. So bringing snacks is helpful. And then I always bring my laptop with me because in case I want to work or do whatever, but the seats did have TVs in them, which was really nice. They had a lot of movies and shows to watch. And again, they do provide headphones, so if you forget some or you don't want to buy some, that is an option, but they're just the little tiny ones that go in your ears, and I would just rather bring something bigger and padded. Something else that I didn't think about until I started researching for this trip, but it's a virtual private network, a VPN. I read a lot of different articles about hackers stealing credit card numbers via Wi-Fi in Europe. So I purchased a VPN because I didn't need to deal with that. Another benefit of having a VPN is that a lot of websites or parts of websites get blocked in European countries. A good VPN will make it possible to visit whatever website you want because you can actually like bounce off different places in America so it thinks you're in America even though you're overseas. Something to note about having a VPN though is if you're in hot weather, it's going to drain your battery really fast. So I would turn the VPN on and off depending on if I was using my phone. If I was connected to Wi-Fi, my VPN was on. If I was just going around and looking at maps or whatever, my VPN would be off. And it did help extend my battery life in my phone, but I also brought a portable power bank. And it was just this small one that plugs right into your phone. And I am so glad I did because you use your phone so much when you travel. Like you're taking pictures with it, you're filming things, you're using the map, you're researching tourist sites and restaurants and Yelp, and you would be surprised how fast your battery goes. So just bringing an extra power bank and charging it up every night really helped a lot. And then also upgrade your phone plan. I highly recommend getting the unlimited out of country plan for your phone. We have Verizon. It was $10 a day or $100 for the month. So because we were there for 15 days, we just did the full $100, and we only did it on my phone and it wasn't an issue at all. So my husband would have his phone and he could connect to Wi-Fi, but then we used my phone for everything else and it was fine. And truly, I've never used a phone in Europe before. I've only been on Wi-Fi, and it's so easy to navigate around with the map app on your phone. Like you can get, you know how you can change it to walking, so it'll tell you how far a destination is by walking, or if you want to take public transportation, it tells you what metros to take, what stops to get off at. If you want to get on the bus, it tells you which ones to take. So it makes everything so much easier. You don't need a map if you have your phone. I also feel like it saved a lot of time of just staring at a map and trying to figure out where to go, which is usually what I've done on previous trips. So just bring your phone. Okay, I do want to talk about the power adapter again, because European plugs and outlets are not the same as the US, like I said before. So bringing your own power adapters is a must if you want to charge your phone. I got the one that has the USB plugs and the big plug, so I could charge multiple things in one socket. It really came in handy, whether you're blow drying your hair, ironing your clothes, charging your phone. And then the ones that I have, these are good in France, Italy, Germany, Spain, Iceland, and Israel. So if you're not going to one of those places, definitely check what type of plug you need because it might not work over there. If you're gonna go anywhere, I recommend travel insurance. And I am so grateful that we got travel insurance on this trip because we will be reimbursed for the hotel, the transportation, and the food from when American Airlines pushed our flight back 24 hours. The airline would not help us at all. We stayed there until it was like 1 a.m, and they would not help us. It was crazy. So we were defeated, and we're like, okay, we need a hotel. We need to figure out what to do all day tomorrow because our flight was the next night. And so just knowing in the back of my head, you're going to get reimbursed, you have travel insurance, it probably prevented me from losing my shit on the airline people worse than I did. I mean, don't get me wrong, I definitely went a little crazy, but it just sucks when you know your trip's being cut short for no reason. So basically what happened was our first flight was delayed. So when we landed in Philadelphia, they had decided we were going to miss our second flight and they bumped us, even though our second flight was also delayed. And so when we got there, we saw our plane was there, it hadn't taken off yet. We went to check in and they were like, you don't have seats on our flight anymore. And we were like, what are you talking about? And they said, yeah, the computer automatically moves you and we can't move you back, sorry. And that was that. And like, there was no one that could help us. It was insane. It was maddening because our flight was right there. They told us that they didn't give our seats away. It was a whole thing. But anyways, knowing I had travel insurance definitely gave me peace, because at least I'll get my money back for the first full day we missed in Europe. Something else that's good about travel insurance is your insurance. If you end up going to the hospital for whatever reason while you're in Europe, your American insurance will not cover you. And so travel insurance will cover you. Also, if you get robbed or lose something while you're traveling, travel insurance will cover that as well. I think it was a little over $300, so worth it. I mean, it basically paid for itself with the hotel room. We used World Nomads, and I've heard about Faye was another good travel insurance company. But I mean, use whichever one you like. You can do your own research there. World Nomads seem to be good for us. We're still waiting to get reimbursed. We've turned everything in, but it's processing, so I'm okay with that. Something else you definitely want to bring on a trip is a first aid kit. It doesn't need to be like the big first aid kit box. It doesn't have to be like that at all. I typically will bring like a Aleve for headaches, stool softeners, some sort of cold medicine, some sort of allergy pill, whether it's non-drowsy or Benadryl. And then I also like to carry a couple Band-Aids for cuts, and then these little blister protectors. These things are the best. They stay on for days, and if you're getting any sort of sore spot from your shoes, these will change your life, I promise you. So a lot of the blog posts that I read said that you'll find the pharmacies anywhere you go in Europe, and they'll have everything you need in the US. But let me tell you, when I got diarrhea 1 week into my trip, that lasted the rest of my trip and then the rest of the month of July, it sucked. But I would try to go to these pharmacies and ask for something to help my stomach, and they were like, they don't have Pepto-Bismol, they don't have Tums, they have like probiotics and things that I was already taking. So they don't have everything. So if you need any specific medication, or if you know there are certain things that you're like, I don't want this to happen, if this happens, I'm going to be miserable, bring whatever you take for that, because trust me, it's just easier. Plus, the pharmacies buying the medication, because don't get me wrong, I did try a few of the European diarrhea medications and they did not help, but they were so expensive. Also, these little blister pads, those are super expensive if you buy them at a pharmacy in Europe. So just buy them in advance and bring them, and thank yourself later. And for reference, I just bring a sandwich bag. Like, that's my first aid kit, and then I just throw it in my backpack and I'm done with it. So it doesn't have to be some extensive fancy bag. Another thing I recommend bringing are these motion sickness patches. So whether you suffer from motion sickness or not, it's better to just protect yourself. So each one will last for 3 days, and you can put it behind your ear or above your belly button. But they really, like, we didn't get sick once on this trip. We were on trains, we were on metros, we were on boats, planes, I mean, all sorts of things. And these were really, really good. And then also just bring activated charcoal. It's a good food poisoning fix. So I rarely get sick, and I definitely had some issues on my trip, and I'm really glad that I had activated charcoal, because it helps you detox. It also helps with hangovers. Just bring some on your trip, and if anything happens, like, they can help shorten the duration of your illness. Like, if you get food poisoning, they will help you so much. Documents that you should bring, I made copies of everything. My passports, driver's licenses, credit cards, debit cards, travel reservation, confirmations, etc. Like, literally, I make copies of absolutely everything. I also have an online account in my Google Drive where I stored all of the info. So if I lost anything, I would have access from any device. And it just gives you peace of mind. We didn't have to use any of it. We used the tickets on the Eurail, like the printed tickets, but just knowing I had it in case anything went wrong. I also printed the original price of things, so if they tried to upcharge you, you just know, nope, this is what we're working with, and you can't overcharge me. So it's just something that's really good to do. So I brought 5 pairs of shoes on this trip, and it was overkill. I was worried about my feet hurting being too hot. Just, I find that having more options for my feet, because I have bunions and I have really sensitive feet, it's just better for me. So I did bring 5 pairs. 2 of them I only wore one time, and then the rest I wore a few times, but these I wore the most. These white sneakers, they're super lightweight, they're leather, they're so comfortable. The first day I wore them, I walked 16,000 steps and my feet didn't hurt at all. And then the second day I walked 25,000 steps in them and I had 0 blisters. They're absolutely amazing. Another cool thing with sneakers like this, instead of like the full-on tennis shoe, is you won't look like a tourist in these. Everyone wears sneakers over there. I saw a lot of sneakers. I saw a lot of comfortable sandals. Like there were Echo stores, there were, was it Monroe, or there are comfortable sandal shops, especially in Paris. I saw quite a few, and people wear them. Like those are their everyday shoes. So it's not like people are gonna judge you because you're wearing Birkenstocks or your like ugly comfy sandals. Like those are what people wear over there because everybody walks so much. So do not worry, wear your most comfortable shoes. But if you need some recommendations, I'm gonna link I would say I would link 3 pairs of the shoes that I brought. They were incredibly comfortable. Another company, the walking company, FitFlop and Naote, those brands, they make really comfortable shoes and they all worked really well for me. I saw some girls in those like flat, non-supportive sandals just limping around Europe. It's just not worth it to me. Okay, this tripod is an absolute must for your Europe trip. It's so cool. So there's a little button on the bottom that pops these sides out. And then this thing expands to 60 inches. So it gets really tall. And then this part can take vertical or horizontal videos, but having a tripod is really helpful. And what's even better is it has an attached remote. So, oh my gosh, I have no nails right now. Gosh. Oh. Okay, so it has this remote that attaches and obviously is very secure, but this is a Bluetooth remote, so you can just hook it up with your phone. It's very easy to do. You set your phone on the tripod, you walk away, take pictures. Literally every time we use this, people would stare at it and were like jealous of our tripod thing. We didn't have to ask strangers to take photos. It's just the best, and it's so worth it. I want to say it's like $30. This is something that you could use forever, and then this is how small it gets. So it fits in your bag really, really well. So my husband carried his backpack every day, which was really nice. It carried the bigger things like sweaters, water, things like that, the tripod. So all I needed was a small crossbody that I could put my phone in because I wore a lot of dresses and there's just no pockets. And then I would put my chapstick in here, hand sanitizer, my credit cards, and my driver's license. So we like to keep them somewhat separate in case anything happened. But what I like about this bag, and this bag is like 6 years old, so I couldn't find it online, but I did find something that seems similar. But this lock in the front is really confusing. So a pickpocket didn't even try to get into this bag because there's no way they would get in this thing. So just look for a bag that's a little bit harder to open. My mom is a big fan of what are those travel bag companies? The problem with travel bags is they're not very cute, and I wanted to still look stylish, but also be very functional. And so, yeah, you can get one of those travel bags, but you'd probably not wear it when you're at home. Or you can just bring a cute bag that is more secure than more open. You know what I'm saying? Okay, a few more things that you definitely want to bring to Europe. Obviously your passport. Make sure it's not even close to expiring because you won't get back. Like they're sticklers about the expiration date. Your driver's license, same thing. Credit card, bring a debit card, and be sure to notify your bank of your travels beforehand just to be safe. You don't want to get over there, be using your card, and then have them cancel it and lock it because that's when you need it the most. So just call your bank and say, I'm going overseas, what do I need to do? And then in the States, we never use our debit card, but in Europe, we did use it at a few ATMs. So it's a really convenient way to get local currency. When you go to the ATMs, make sure you're keeping watch. Like one person could be doing the ATM and then one person's watching, making sure that no one is going to rob you because that is when they tend to do it. And also try to go to ATMs at banks because they don't charge you the crazy fees. We went to this ATM in Venice and they definitely ripped us off on the fees. So just try to go to ATMs that are at banks, not like the standalone ones. And also a lot of banks nowadays reimburse you if there is like a charge for using a non-branded ATM. So, you know, just kind of count on spending extra money to get cash out. We didn't have to use cash that often, but we did need it sometimes. Like to use public restrooms, sometimes you'd have to put in €1. So if you didn't have €1, you couldn't go to the bathroom. So little things like that where it's like you don't need a ton of cash, but it definitely comes in handy. My aluminum-free deodorant got me through the whole trip. I did not smell like BO once, and it was 90+ degrees every single day. This is aluminum free. It's pretty clean. I like the lilac and white tea scent, but they have a lot of different fragrances. I'm very impressed with this deodorant after that trip especially. But these things, I've had this for over a year. It's so worth it. Something else is an anti-chafe stick. So if your thighs rub or under boobs or armpits or anything, if you just don't want that irritation, this will change your life. This is the Mega Babe Thigh Rescue Anti-Friction Stick. It really just makes everything feel more comfortable. So definitely use this a lot. And then I bought these shorts that I wore under skirts and dresses. And so these also helped protect my thighs from rubbing. They came in a 4-pack. It was white, black, gray, and tan. So I left the white ones at home because I felt like those would show through a lot, but I did wear the other ones almost every day because I wore a lot of dresses and skirts. Something else that I didn't know existed until one of my friends showed me, but it's a toothbrush cover. And so it's this little thing that just pops on the top of your toothbrush and it prevents everything from getting wet. So little things like this are really helpful. And then dental floss, obviously, don't forget that. Hand sanitizer, your hairbrush, nail clippers, definitely bring sunscreen. I brought the Thrive body sunscreen and actually the face sunscreen, and both were really good. They're very clean sunscreens. They're physical, so they don't have any chemical sunscreens. It's like zinc based. And we didn't get sunburned once on this whole trip. Some people said to bring insect repellent. I didn't really get any bug bites over there, but it is something good to think about depending on where you're going. And then if you like to exfoliate your body, bring your own exfoliator because they give you minimal towels in European hotels. And like when you ask for more, they're like shocked that you're asking for more. Maybe it was the hotels that we were staying at, but I mean, we weren't getting the cheapest hotels. Like we were probably right in the middle. Like I feel like we were spending quite a bit of money on hotels. So I don't know, it's just weird. And then you definitely do want to bring sweater and a pair of pants, at least for the flight. So I would wear my sweater when we were on the train, when we were on the plane, and then just in the hotel room, sometimes you want to feel cozy. Even if it's hot outside, I just like to have a sweater. So I brought a sweater, and then I brought like more of a sweatshirt style, and I use both of them actually a lot. Also want to bring sunglasses. So I brought my designer Gucci sunglasses, and I was very cautious the whole trip because my sister got her sunglasses stolen when she was there. So if you don't, so maybe don't bring your designer sunglasses, but there's this brand called like Spec on Amazon, and they make really great quality. They're like $50 to $60 sunglasses, so they're still expensive, but they're not your Gucci sunglasses. And they're high quality, they block the sun. Or just bring like a less expensive pair of glasses. Like there's so many cute ones on Amazon that look designer. And then bring your journal if you like to journal. I like this one. I just got it this year and I love how it is because it's refillable, but it also has a pen slot, so I didn't have to think about where's my pen while I was on this trip. And then also bring a book or a Kindle, any prescription medications, feminine hygiene products. Every time I travel, I start my period. It's like without fail. So I always bring those. And then things to not bring to Europe, I would say don't bring a lot of jewelry. People aren't really wearing that much jewelry to begin with, but definitely don't bring anything sentimental. Like I didn't bring my engagement ring. This is from Amazon. This is a fake wedding bands, like fake diamond. I got this last year when I was pregnant and my fingers swelled up and none of my rings would fit anymore, but I still wanted to have some sort of band on. And this one, I mean, it looks really expensive. I'm gonna link it below. It was good to bring. And then also these earrings. So I just brought one pair of earrings. I wore them the whole trip. And they're like these tiny little lightweight pearl earrings from Amazon. They're so affordable. And I was really surprised with how many people were wearing pearl earrings in Europe. So these were right on trend. They're super comfortable and very affordable. So even if I did lose them, I wouldn't have been really upset about it. I wouldn't recommend bringing a ton of cash just because there's so many pickpocketers and there are ATMs everywhere. So, you know, bring some. You want to have some cash, but you don't need that much cash, and you don't need to get it transferred like in the States before you go. Like, it's really not that hard to get cash over there. Couple facts about Europe. So the tap water, they say you can drink the tap water in Europe. I was afraid to. So I actually didn't, but there was plenty of water spouts all over the place where people were filling up water bottles. If you want to do that, honestly, just get one of those filtered water bottles and just do your own and be safe. Like, if I went back, I would definitely bring my own water bottle because most of the hotels didn't give us water. Restaurants don't give you water. If you ask for water, they bring you a bottle and then charge you like €3 for it. It's like tap water. I don't know. They just think it's funny that Americans like to drink so much water, but I felt like I was constantly having to buy water bottles and it gets really old. So bring your own water bottle. If you want to drink the tap water, try it, but another good question that I got was, how common is English in Europe? And we had no issues communicating with the locals at all. English is widely spoken as a second language throughout Europe. So I wouldn't be too concerned if you don't know French or Italian or whatever. Like, most people do speak English, so you should be fine. Another question I got was, did I plan my own trip or do I need a travel agent? We planned our entire trip by ourselves. We planned it in like 5 weeks too. So if I could go back in time, I would probably give myself at least a few months because it was a lot of nights after work sitting on our computers, researching hotels, activities, and a lot of our activities were sold out because we were so last minute. So like, we couldn't get a boat tour in Lake Como, things like that, or we couldn't get tickets to the Vatican. It's okay, it's fine, we had a great time, but those are just some things to be aware of, which I don't even know if a travel agent could help you that late in the game. So if you don't feel confident looking at hotel reviews and activity reviews, then maybe hire a travel agent, but honestly, you should be fine doing the whole trip by yourself. I was the most concerned about booking the trains from place to place, and it was honestly so easy. We purchased a Eurail pass, and then that was kind of expensive, and then we had to buy tickets, like reservations, to get from place to place after that. So I think it probably came out to be about $1,000 for transportation, but we also upgraded to first class. The trains are really nice. They're very comfortable. They offered snacks for free on some of them, and they're just very easy. It's an easy way to get around. So I would say the Eurail, I would recommend it. But if you're really concerned, then maybe get a travel agent. And then the last thing is, do you have to tip at the restaurants in Europe? And no, you don't. So restaurants in Europe don't really require tips. If they do have a service charge, they will state that on the bill. And some of our bills did have a service charge, especially in the more touristy areas. But yeah, you don't have to tip. And I really appreciated that because in America, tipping culture is completely out of control. So that's it. That's a lot of information. I hope you found this list helpful and you found some things to pack. I'm going to link everything I talked about below. And then I also have a blog post where I'm going to have photos and more details on everything that I mentioned here. So if you want to get the full scoop, my blog is laurenarrow.com. And if you liked this, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and turn on notifications so we can see each other next time.